In the Planetterrian spotlight, this hint at long COVID protection is particularly compelling because it could empower people with simple preventive steps after illness. I've seen how vitamins play into my own recovery from colds, supporting energy levels without overpromising miracles. It's not a game changer yet, but it adds to the evidence that consistent nutrient intake might ease those persistent symptoms, and I'm genuinely curious to see where follow-up research leads. What do you think? Do vitamins factor into your post-illness routine? Next up, a sobering look at how economic shocks can ripple into lifelong health issues drawn from Indonesia's past. Back in the 1990s, a massive rice price surge during Indonesia's financial crisis forced many families into nutrient-poor diets, and new research in Science Daily links that to stunted growth in children exposed at the time. Fast forward, and those same kids showed higher rates of obesity later in life, likely because early malnutrition altered their metabolic programming. This highlights the long-term vulnerabilities created by economic hardship. It's not just about immediate hunger, but how it sets up risks for chronic conditions down the line. From a population health angle, it urges policymakers to implement protective nutrition programs during crises like subsidized food access to buffer these effects. As a Canadian scientist, I see parallels here with global food insecurity today. It's a reminder that health isn't isolated from economics, and studies like this provide the evidence we need for better interventions. My brief take: it's incremental but vital, showing how early life exposures echo into adulthood, and it could inform strategies in places facing similar challenges now. On a related environmental note, but pivoting to agriculture and water reuse, something increasingly relevant with climate change. Experiments detailed in Science Daily examined crops like tomatoes, carrots, and lettuce irrigated with wastewater and found they can absorb pharmaceuticals such as antidepressants right into their tissues. Interestingly, the concentrations were higher in the leaves than in the edible parts, which is somewhat reassuring, but it still raises questions about long-term exposure through our food chain. This process matters as water scarcity pushes more regions toward wastewater for farming. Understanding uptake mechanisms can help develop safer practices, like treating water to remove contaminants before use. Mechanistically, it's about how plants' roots and vascular systems pull in these compounds, fascinating plant biology at play. I find this research thoughtful because it doesn't sensationalize the risks, but provides data to guide sustainable agriculture. We might see innovations in crop selection or irrigation tech as a result. For future research, it could mean monitoring guidelines that ensure reused water doesn't compromise food safety. Now let's explore something intriguing from the world of epigenetics and paternal influences on health. A study in Science Daily used male mice exposed to nicotine and found their offspring had messed up sugar handling, insulin changes, and liver function problems, increasing risks for diabetes. These effects seem to stem from epigenetic changes passed down, meaning dad's habits before conception could shape a child's metabolic health for generations. It adds to what we know about environmental exposures. We've seen similar with maternal factors, but this paternal angle is a fresh layer, emphasizing that lifestyle choices echo beyond the individual. Clinically, it might encourage preconception counseling for men, highlighting how quitting smoking or avoiding toxins could protect future kids. As someone passionate about longevity, I'm interested in how this fits into broader inheritance patterns. It's not deterministic, but it underscores preventive health across family lines. My take? This is solid animal model work that warrants human studies. It could shift how we think about intergenerational health risks. Switching to diagnostics and some deep-sea innovation that's pretty cool for medical tech. Researchers tapped into proteins from extremophiles, those hardy organisms in volcanic vents and deep ocean trenches, to supercharge lamp tests, as reported in Science Daily. These DNA-binding proteins make the tests faster and more sensitive, even under tough conditions like high heat or acidity, which is a big win for detecting infections in remote or resource-limited areas. The mechanism here is how these proteins stabilize the amplification process, borrowed from nature's toughest survivors. It builds on existing diagnostic tools, potentially making them more reliable for things like rapid COVID or bacterial outbreak testing. I love this because it's a great example of biomimicry, using evolution's solutions to solve human problems, and it could expand access to accurate diagnostics globally. For future implications, watch for this in field medicine or even home kits. It's incremental tech advancement with real-world punch. Finally, a peek into bacterial biology that could inform new antibiotics. Using cryo-electron microscopy, scientists captured the Muraz protein in action, bending and breaking to kickstart cell division genes in bacteria, per Science Daily. This widespread mechanism is key to how bacteria multiply, and understanding it at such a detailed structural level opens doors to targeting it in infections. It's fascinating from a molecular perspective. Seeing proteins dynamically reshape to regulate genes adds to our foundational knowledge of microbial life. In the context of antibiotic resistance, insights like this could lead to novel drugs that disrupt division without the usual side effects. As a scientist, I'm reflective on how these basic discoveries underpin bigger breakthroughs. It's not flashy, but it's the kind of evidence that accumulates into real progress against superbugs. My brief take? This advances our toolkit against infections, and it's a reminder that sometimes the most impactful science is in the details. Before we go, next time we'll be watching for updates on how epigenetic discoveries like paternal nicotine effects might influence new guidelines for family planning and metabolic health. That's Planetterrian Daily for today. If you enjoyed this episode, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using 11 Labs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.